Please tell us more about Crew.
Yes.
What was the idea behind it?
Crew, basically, when we set up Crew as 3 founder members who are lawyers, we were just feeling that we needed to be involved in women's emancipation. And we didn't even know where it was gonna start. We just felt like we just had to start something. And while there are other vehicles that were doing something in that arena, we just felt that we wanted to do more. And initially it came from a very far-fetched idea. We wanted to set up shelter homes. And I'm very grateful that we never went that way, because I came to realize later on that my energies and our energies were best placed at a strategic level, as opposed to catching the babies that were being thrown in the river, stop the babies from being thrown into the river. And we went upstream, and we went into legislation, we went into advocacy, and we went into community awareness. And the rest is, you know,
the rest is history. You are allowed to brag, because yes, you're talking about the Sexual Offences Act.
Yes, we drafted that, with the Millie Othiambo and our juvenile network. We've done a lot of, I was involved in the constitution process. I was one of the delegates in Bomas, and of course we came up with very, very good provisions. If you go to the constitution, and one of the basic rights for a woman is the right to dress how you want to dress, that came from me. And it's something that I'm very proud of, because when we started the constitutional process, we were very vocal, as you can imagine. And one day some people who thought they could stop us from making headway thought they could attack my dress. And I decided to use that opportunity to ensure that there was a provision in the constitution that gave women the freedom to dress as and how they wished. And I think I look back at those days, and I was very grateful.
You're very
for the
proud.
opportunity.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I think recently there was a member of parliament in Tanzania who was turned away because she was dressed inappropriately.
Yes, I saw that.
And I even saw the pictures, and I kept wondering, I rolled my eyes, I was wondering how inappropriate.
Trust me, it was not about the dress. It must have been something, but they used the dress because, you know, the dress has been, women's dress has been
politicized,
weaponized, yes. And it's a very, it's a place of shame, it's a place of many things that are negative. And society has used that as a backlash against women who are, you know, proponents of certain changes, and they will use that. So if I was to say something to her, everything that is hurled on your way is an opportunity to step up further. So she should just have thrown it back, or go back and make sure there is a provision in their constitution that will make it impossible for another woman to be thrown out. If you think about some of the things that men wear, and I'm not hating against men, you would be, you know, some of the things that really, let's be honest, some things that people have worn, and just simply because
names
I know. We should just never ever. We should think more about the intellectual contributions as opposed to something as whimsical as dress.
It should be a non-issue.
It should be.
And how much have you done for this country?
I haven't done it alone, Queen. I've done it with people like you who helped me use the tools in their hands, and we did it as a community of, we call ourselves soldiers of justice. And whenever we came up with a good idea, we tapped into the network, and hence the networking is very powerful. When you find like-minded people who are thinking about one thing and then coming together with that common desire to bring it forth, it's so amazing what can be done. So I didn't do it alone. I cannot take the credit. I just know that I'm proud that we were able to step in the gap and do quite some very interesting things. Yes.
And do you feel like, has the country been kind to you? Have they been able to pay back? You know, when you efforts?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. I think when you do the work that we do, you never set out with a goal of being thanked, and you go out with a goal of impact and creating change. and your reward comes in very different ways. When you start to see that the things you fought for, the things you paid such a big price for, are now no longer issues, you feel so satisfied. And whether or not anybody recognizes that, you are just happy to see that, wow, your years in the trenches were not wasted. And I think, more importantly, one of the big drivers and one of the big reasons why I was in the front line was because I felt that it would be good for us to pay the ultimate price, so that our children can come and apply their talents, as opposed to our children coming back to the trenches. Because for how long shouldn't one generation be able to see that change has come in, and the kids don't have to come and start at the same level. Of course, Kenya's case study is a very, very complicated case study, but we hope that every day, one step at a time, even as we take so many steps backwards every time, one day we'll be able to celebrate. It may not even be in our lifetime, but we know for sure the seeds that were planted by our struggle, and those on whose shoulders we stood, because other people had paid the price with the sweat, blood and tears, and we only came to advance that which they had started. But one day, Kenya's story will be told in very good and glowing terms.